Good afternoon. I'm Cedric Alexander, Deputy Chief Operating Officer for DeKalb County. And the Public Safety Department here at DeKalb County, we would like to say to the community, as we've always said, we're committed to the safety of this community, and at all times we're looking at new ways to enhance safety in a very changing and evolving community here in this county, and using technology is one of those ways in which we do so. And of course, its success in achieving our mission of keeping this community safe is due in part to maintaining and identifying and securing the necessary equipment in order to do so. This afternoon, we're pleased to announce a new public safety initiative, the implementation of Smart911. Smart911 is a service that can enhance our emergency response by providing first responders access to critical and potentially life-saving information about a caller prior to their arrival on the scene. The service allows residents to create a free safety profile of their household. The residents control what information they want included, and in addition to that, this information can also include medical conditions, for an example, allergies, even physical descriptions, or any other information that a citizen feels comfortable in providing. When anyone in the household dials 911 from a phone associated with the safety profile, the profile is immediately displayed on the operator's computer screen here at the 911 center. Depending on the call, the operator has pertinent information to be at his or her ready disposal in order to dispatch that call out. So as emergency personnel are arriving to your residence or scene, the more information they have about who you are, your medical conditions, will certainly help enhance the likelihood of any support, of medical support that can be provided, or help that you might be needing when we come to your home. You can just merely log on at smart911.com, smart911.com. When you log on, just fill out the profile that is pertinent to you. And I think what we're going to see going forward is an enhanced way of providing a public safety to this community, because anytime that you can call in and your phone number pops up also with necessary information about you or your family members, as much as you're willing to disclose, will also help our emergency personnel as they arrive to your residence. So what I would like to do now is ask Chief Conroy of the Police Department to come forward and just say a few words how this will enhance our community safety, and as well too how it would work for his police department. And then Chief Fulham will, from the fire side, also speak as to how this whole Smart911 process is going to enhance our public safety. Chief Conroy.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I just wanted to highlight a couple of the advantages of Smart911 and how it's going to help the police department. One of our big challenges as citizens are transitioning from landlines to cell phones, locating cellular callers, particularly hang-up calls from cell phones. You know, we can get within a general geographical area based on the triangulation of the cell phones. You can link your cell phone number to your address, and this will help us, particularly in apartment complexes, so we can get close to a location, but you can have your exact apartment location linked to this address, and that will help us in responding. Another couple advantages are pets and service animals. So you can list your pets and service animals. So if we respond to your location, we will see if there's a pet on site. You can even list, this is my pet, they're aggressive, please use caution. Or if they're service animals or any particular disability issues that we need to know about. So some of these are some great advantages to have in this voluntary program. All right, thank you. I'll turn it over to Chief Fulham from the fire department.
Well, we're excited as well about this new technology. Well, one of the great advantages I think we'll see right away is with our elderly population. Many times they may fall, and we have to find ways into their home. So now they can give us data, information that will let us know how we can enter their home without possibly damaging it. So I see it as a proactive approach to increasing our efficiency and our productivity when we respond to calls. Thank you.
Any questions, please?
But how much information can people put on there? I mean, what's the extent of it? Is it its address? Is it like your route home, pets? I mean, what are the details of all the info people can list?
I don't have all the exact parameters, but in a moment we're going to go next door and look at a live demo, and it'll show you the exact number of characters that you can enter. There's a number of fields plus a free field entry field.
Lieutenant Monahan, you might be able to answer that question more specifically. Y'all familiar with Lieutenant Monahan, our Director of 911 Services, one of the most remarkable, brilliant men that I know. Please.
You can put a tremendous amount of information in. For the deaf community, it will send text messages into us. But it will take in, like Chief Conway said, we've got a demo set up, but just for allergies alone and medications, you can put in a tremendous number. I think we had put in about 15 different varieties this morning, and it will take everything. The call taker will see all of this when it comes in and be able to send it over to dispatch to get it out to the responding units. But the profile itself, it'll basically take as much information as you're willing to put in.
Can you talk again about the necessity or the importance of something like this?
Of it,
the system.
One of the biggest things that I found that helps us in 911, about 70% of the citizenry is using cell phones, and we can't get a good location. Some of the cell phone companies are compliant, and we can get to within about 300 feet of you, but that's still very difficult for a police officer to find, especially if it's an apartment complex. With this, you can give a work address, a home address, and at least we've got somewhere to start. If you call in, our first question to you is, where are you at? And you can't answer that. We've got a starting point. We can either start at your address or your work address and try to find out where you are if you need assistance.
When you have the information, can you talk about the significance of it, the difference between life and death?
Well,
the possibility of that?
If you need medications, somebody that has diabetes or any other type of disease or anything else, you have a specific medication or what your routine is, the fire department will be able, and the emergency medical folks will be able to have that while they're en route to you. As much of your history as you want to put in, they would be able to have that information. Children's bedrooms in a fire, if you wanted to list that information where you have young children or babies and where their rooms are, the firemen would already know what areas they were going to first.
How important is having some of that information in advance?
I think it's extremely important because a small child could be making a phone call, just the incident we had the other day where the man injured himself and his daughter had to make the phone call. Basically, if she didn't know the address, as long as she could dial it up even on a cell phone, if you were registered, we could find you and at least get somebody out to you to help you.
I know it's information people can decide how much they want to give, and that information will be helpful depending on how much they give. Should they be concerned about that information and anyone else having that information?
Smart911 is holding the database on this. This is not something we at DeKalb County, it's not Big Brother. We're not looking into your personal information. This will all be held by a database at Smart911, and they're out of Boston, Massachusetts. I would recommend that anybody that wants to make a profile, go on and take a look at their security information on there and that they feel comfortable with it. And again, it's completely voluntary, but I would highly recommend it. And these profiles, they are good anywhere in the United States. If you create that profile, it's not only going to work here, it's going to work wherever you go in the U.S. that has Smart911. So if you live in Atlanta and work in DeKalb, it's still going to pop up in both of those places.
You talked about how it could have helped that young girl when she called to help her dad. Do you have an example of how it has helped someone so far?
I'm sure that I could get you some, and we've got plenty of cases through Smart911, but I don't have anything to point to right now at this moment.
We've done multiple stories on people calling from their cell phones, 911, and they can't determine what agency should respond, whether it should be Decatur PD or DeKalb PD. That's just an example. Is this going to cut down on that as well?
It could help, especially with the cell phone issues. We just had the Atlanta and DeKalb task force not too long ago that was working on the East Atlanta community, and their calls get routed here. Sometimes ours get routed to Atlanta. If you listed in your profile on your cell phone, I live within the city of Atlanta, or Atlanta police responds to my house, that could help us process that much faster.
What about the fact when you're out of state, because I understand reading the information, you're out of state and that state has that agency is using the information, it will be able to locate them.
That is correct. Your information, if you're in Boston and you've created your profile in DeKalb, your information is still going to pop up while you're in Boston.
In reference to medication and things like that?
Yes,
not
ma'am.
necessarily location?
Correct.
I have a question regarding 911 service from DeKalb County. During the last snowstorm, we were covering during the night some areas in DeKalb County, and there were a crash involving 5 vehicles, and I called 911, and I speak in Spanish, and 911 center doesn't have any operator who speaks Spanish, and they call somebody, a third party, who is involved in translating. It took 1 minute and 10 seconds to reach them, and also the operator didn't understand for 30 seconds what I was talking in Spanish. It's 1 minute and 40 seconds, and plus the service didn't understand the addresses because I believe those services are in other states. It was almost 2 minutes waiting for service, and what happened if it's a big emergency, somebody needs help and doesn't have this service in Spanish. I'm talking in Spanish. I brought this in Spanish because DeKalb has 1 million population and 10% is Spanish. They speak Spanish, and it's almost 100,000 persons who speak Spanish in this area. And I don't know if you have service in Spanish for them.
Yes, sir. I'm going to let
You bring up a real interesting point, because this is a very diverse community, and we certainly do have a significant Spanish-speaking population in DeKalb of 700,000 citizens that reside in this county. And one thing we're in the process of doing, and one of the greatest challenges, of course, that we've had has been in recruiting 911 operators. We have some of the best 911 operators in the country that take over 1.2 million calls a year. So we're in the process, as we speak, in attempting to and trying to encourage more Spanish-speaking individuals to apply to become 911 operators. So we understand the significance of it and the importance of it as well, too. So it certainly will enhance our ability here to service this entire community. And the importance of it, we certainly do understand as well, too. But we're very well aware of it, and we're doing what we can to make sure we try to employ more 911 operators who are bilingual and who can assist us in the daily operation of 911 Center. So I appreciate you bringing that up, and I mean that sincerely, because that is definitely very important to us here in the county. Any more questions?
I have one last question for 911.
Yeah.
Based on the story we did last night where the young lady, her home was being broken into and she called 911 but kept hanging up, can you talk about the difference between that hanging up versus the information? That these are two very different things, or can you explain the difference in what happened there and what this information is all about?
This is different, and I think one is very informational. The informational part is this: anytime that you call, there are going to be peak hours in this county where there's going to be high volumes of calls, very high volumes of calls at certain times of the evening. So if you go into a recording, it's a brief recording, but do not, I repeat, do not hang up. Stay with that call, and generally we will get to you within a minute. But if you hang up, you go to the back of the queue and you come back up again, and that can take even longer. And what we discovered from that piece that you introduced to us is that this particular citizen call, hung up, call, hung up, call, hung up. If you should happen, and this doesn't happen all the time, all day, every day, it does not. But if you should call during one of those high peak hours where those calls come in, a recording pickup, do not hang up. Stay with that recording, and someone is going to be to you just within a matter of moments. But you got to stay with the call. Okay, that is very, very important. But in terms of the technology here itself that we're talking about, Smart911, this is just really a way we truly believe is going to be helpful to citizens and also to first responders as well, too. And I think what we know it's going to give us right now is going to enhance that service, and it's going to be really worth the effort and time and all that has gone into us adopting this 911 this Smart 911 into our system. So I think great things are going to come out of it. But the other thing is that for citizens to remember, you only have to give as much information as you feel comfortable in giving. Because we're going to see cases, I'm quite sure, where someone's going to call and they may pass out or lose consciousness before we get there. But when we get there, however we have to get into that residence, the more information we know about you or a family member or someone that's in that home, because it's now registered with us, that's even better medical care that we're able to provide there on the scene and any other assistance that we may be able to give. Liz?
Let me just ask you a quick question in response to what he was saying. Could a Spanish-speaking person put that in their profile? Would that help things at all?
Absolutely.
I only speak
Absolutely it would, because if they only speak Spanish, because what that will alert us to as well too, because we have Spanish-speaking officers and we have bilingual officers. We would also, I'm quite sure, Chief Conroy would tell you here, we would automatically also make sure that we dispatch someone who is bilingual. So it's great to know that information up front, particularly if you are bilingual. That is a great point. Thank you, Liz.
If I could expand on that briefly, one more step, take it beyond Spanish speaking. We use our language line for interpretation services for officers and 911 operators. One of the challenges when we have some more of the obscure languages, Farsi, is trying to identify that language when we call for the interpreter, because they'll say, what language are you calling about? So if you do have it on there, Spanish is one that we have less difficulty identifying, but if we're trying to identify Farsi and you have that on your profile, we know that, and that will make it that much quicker. That just popped into my head when you brought your question, so that was an excellent question. I appreciate it.
And then last question up front, and then we'll go over to the demonstration.
Yeah, I went to the website this morning and I went through the process because I want to experience that before I write about it. So I speak Spanish as a first language, and I couldn't find a space to put it. And actually, in every single thing that you have to go in details, say, in English, please explain, blah, 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 blah. So I couldn't find where can I put that. I'm a Spanish-speaking person. And second, where is this new service available? Is it in every in every area in DeKalb County, or?
Moonhan, you want to respond to that?
The city of Atlanta currently has it, Dunwood, or Chatcom. The city of Atlanta has it, Sandy Springs has it, Chatcom that services Dunwoody as well, they have it. There's several places in Georgia that have it right now, but it is catching on across the country.
So how do you know if your area has it or not?
That's for our area. Our 911 center covers unincorporated DeKalb County, all of the cities in DeKalb except for Brookhaven and Dunwoody, which are serviced by Chatcom, which have it. So City of Chamblee and City of Decatur are the other 911 PSAPs. They are not covered by our center. So everybody in DeKalb except for those two, Chamblee and Decatur.
How much do you put on this program, the investment right now from the county?
Was there a cost? Yes.
Yes,
The cost?
$85,000 a year. Currently, it's about $80,000 a year.
Okay. Thanks, guys. And if you want the demonstration, we can walk you over and we can pull up on the.
Y'all asked some great questions.
Yeah, that's good.